Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Mary and I give you an extra warm welcome. I would love it if you could click the subscribe button and stay for a while. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you more than you know. So as you can see from the title of the video, we're talking about Natasha Denona's new launch that is coming. I'm not sure when this video is going up, so by then we should, I think, already have seen the reveal of the midi palette that's coming, although her teaser is pretty straightforward, and we'll probably already know a launch date. This palette has been circling around on Reddit and a couple of other areas, so some of you might already know what the palette looks like. I already know what the palette looks like. I have it saved on my phone. So we are here to talk about this color story and why I more than likely will be skipping it. So if you want to hear my thoughts and my reasons why this palette for me kind of seems unnecessary, like very unnecessary, then just go ahead and keep on watching. All right, my lovelies, of course, I pick up my phone to go look at the picture I have saved of this new midi palette that Ms. Natasha Denona is going to give us. And it turns out she actually already revealed it. So I'll go ahead and put a picture up here of this new palette. And it is the Xenon eyeshadow palette. According to her, the highly anticipated holiday launch. And it is launching October 23rd and it will be $69. No, yeah, that's right. Okay. $65 was the price range for these midi palettes and now they're up to $69. Yes. I thought I went crazy there for a minute. Okay, so I own the mini Xenon palette, which is 5 different shades of gray tones, pretty much. Well, 4 different shades of gray tones and then 1 black in here. Number 1, I don't use black too often. I'm not one of those people that absolutely loves smoky eye looks. I know there are some people who do. I'm not one of them, but I'm going to tell you the reason why. And as you can see, half of my face is done and I left my eyes bare because I will be doing 2 eye looks to show you instead of just telling you why I probably will be skipping this new Natasha Denona launch. Now, almost every single tone in this Natasha Denona Xenon palette is a gray tone shade or black or white. Like, that's what you get, black, white, or gray. When you mix those colors together, that is all you're going to get, black, white, or gray, a gray tone shadow. So it looks like 3, possibly 4. Flurry looks like a nude shade. Snowbow looks like a pinky, maybe one of those special shades from her palettes. And Nev looks like a light pink metallic, although I have a feeling it'll probably look maybe more towards the silver side. And then possibly maybe EBB looks like a navy kind of gray. But everything else in this palette, 4 out of the 15 shades are not gray scaled shadows. The rest of them are. I do own the cremated palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I no longer support this brand, but I still have this palette. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I do because now I can make this video. This is an all gray scale palette. There's 25, I don't even know how many shades. But as you can see, there is some like nude gray tone shades, whites, blacks. There's a couple of other undertones sprinkled in here with the grayscale. But the problem with this palette is that all of them ended up looking just gray on my eyes. So we are here to test this theory out. Every single eyeshadow I have created with this palette, it honestly just looked like I had gray tones on my eyelids, even though some of them do have different undertones. Like this one's green, this one is like a taupey kind of gray, this one looks like it has a tiny bit of purple, but all of those ended up looking gray on my eyes. So we are here to test this theory out and we are here to show you visually why I'm choosing to skip this launch. I hope that makes sense. Okay, let me put on some eye primer and we can get started with 2 different eye looks. Okay, eyes are primed. I went into the Anastasia eye primer, and we're first gonna start with this little bad boy right here, which is the mini Xenon palette. And as you can tell, you have an off-white, a light gray, a medium dark gray, and then your black, and then you have a metallic shimmer. For me, this is perfect. This is the size palette you need for a gray toned palette, and you're gonna see why. Okay, so I think I'll start with the black shade. Let me switch brushes. The E45 from Sigma, I just feel like this one's a tiny bit more precise and I have more control than the Sephora 19. So I'm going to do the mini Xenon palette here, and then I'll use the Jeffree Star cremated palette. I have not said Jeffree Star on my channel in so long, but I'm only doing it for the purpose of this video, okay? So this is going to go in the outer corner, and I'm just going to create a typical smoky eye look. Nothing super extravagant, but I'll make sure to use some of the gray tones in the cremated palette that have like a different undertone other than black and white, but show you that it's going to look very similar to this eye look. Okay, now I'm going to jump into the dark gray. This is the Sephora 19 crease brush, and this is going to go on the edges of the black. Probably blend just a tiny bit. And now see how the black is blending into a gray. So I didn't even have to dip into different colors and it's already proving my point. Let me wipe off my brush. I have too much pigment on there. Okay, so as of now, you can tell that I have black and then I have gray. But I feel like if you were somebody who doesn't play around with shadow as much as I do, you would look at my eye and you would think that I just have black shadow, but I concentrated most of it in the outer corner and then I just blended the shade out to make it look gray. Right? Right. Okay, now I'm going to jump into the light gray. These are just thoughts that came to my head when I reviewed the cremated palette. This is the Moda 466 brush. It's the shader brush, and this is gonna go on the edges and also down here. And I think I'm gonna use the metallic shade on the lid, and then I'll use that off-white as my inner corner. Okay, I have my trusty NYX glitter glue on, and I started applying the shade without realizing I'm not recording. I'm going into this shade with my finger, applying that on the lid. Okay, this is pretty much the eye look. Now I'm just gonna jump into the off-white shade and use that as my inner corner shade. This is the shader crease brush from the Samantha and Sigma brush collaboration. Okay, and this is it. This is the eye look with the Natasha Denona Mini Xenon palette on this eye. Now, let's start with this eye. Oh, let me clean my brushes real quick. Hold on. Okay, I cleaned my brushes just in case I end up using, because I'm gonna try and recreate this eye look on this side, but with the different gray tones that have like a specific undertone. Like this one, you can clearly tell it has green. This one, you can tell it has a brown undertone. This one has like a purple undertone. So I'm just, yeah. Okay, so let's start. I'll go ahead and start as well with Hearth, which is the black in the palette. I'm going to jump in with the Sigma E45. Okay, and then now what we're going to jump into, let me do the one that has the green undertone in it. Inheritance is the name of that shade. Sephora 19 brush. And that's going to go right next to that shade. Okay, so I definitely feel like with this side, if I was somebody who was just looking at my eye, I would think that I have black and then I smudged the edges of it so that it blended into a lighter shade. But that's just me. Okay, and then now I think I'm going to jump into this light gray here that looks like it might have a tiny bit of a purple undertone. And I say purple undertone because when you look at these grays, see how like this looks like a true gray and then that one looks like maybe it has a tiny bit of purple? I hope you can see it. You know? Like this is true gray tones, I feel like. And these, you can tell that they put different undertones in the gray. Okay, so this is the Moda 466 shader brush. Uology is the name of the shade. And I'm going to use this as the shade I used to blend out the edges. Maybe I should have gone lighter. But see how that shade is blending into that second shade I went into? It looks like the same shade. Even though the other one has a more like taupey brown undertone and like taupey cool tone brown. And this one looks more like maybe a purple undertone. But they are blending into each other. Right? I hope you are seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, so my question to you right now is, can you tell that I have 3 different shades of gray on this corner? I would say no. But there's no true like silver light shade in this palette. So I'm going to jump into this white one for the lid, which is called Diamond Ashes. But as you can see, it looks pretty similar to the silver. Glitter fallout like crazy. Okay, now I'm going to jump into the off-white shade in the palette. This is a true white, but I want this one. Casket Ready. And this is gonna go in the inner corner. Maybe I should do the white. You know what? Let me do the white instead. Death Blow. Okay, let me go ahead and put on some mascara, finish off the face, and then we can talk real quick. Okay, my lovely's face is nice and done. For the powder bronzer, I went into the Surratt bronzer. For the blush, I went into that newest Chanel blush I purchased. I forget the name, but I will make sure and link everything down below. Lips, I have on the Natasha Denona in Clio, and then the Rare Beauty little lip oil thing in Hope. For highlighter, I went simple and used the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter in 5.5 as a highlight. And for mascaras, the Ilia and the Kevyn Aucoin. So I want you to look at both of these eye looks, and I want you to tell me, for this eye look, how many shades does it look like I used? If I was somebody that was just looking, and I feel like that's a common thing when it comes to eye looks, and when you start to blend, it's like you lose some of the shades, some of the blend together. But because gray, it's black and white, anytime you mix those two, it doesn't matter what tone of gray, it just ends up looking gray. With paint, I could see it, where you could really see the difference when it's, you know, black, dark gray, medium dark gray, light medium dark gray, light light gray, and then finally it's white. With paint, I can see it being possible, but with eyeshadows, because we blend them, they just end up blending together, blending into each other, and it ends up looking like you only have one shade of gray tone on your eyelid. And I feel like it's the same thing with this one, even though there is a slight difference in the undertones, because I used one that had like a army green kind of undertone, one that had like a purple gray undertone. I just feel like it's unnecessary to have so many shades in a gray scale eyeshadow palette. Okay, I hope what I'm saying in this video is making sense. And I also hope that none of you take this personally. I'm not making this video to bash anyone or any brand. These are just my thoughts from owning the cremated palette and realizing that these are all the gray tones I need to create an eye look like this. I don't need anything else. I don't need any other gray tones because they're all gonna end up looking pretty much the same on my eyelid. With eyeshadow, since we blend, I feel like that's why it just does not make sense.
And I hope I'm making sense.
Again, do not take any offense to anything that I say. If you are super excited for this, great, I'm happy for you. I feel like with everything that we have available at our disposal when it comes to like social media, electronics, everything, it has kind of a tiny bit conditioned us into taking everything so personally and getting our feelings hurt very quick. But I am here to tell you that this video is not intended to hurt anyone's feelings. It's not directed to any one person or any brand. So please do not take it personally. I would love to know what your thoughts are on this new launch from Natasha Denona. If you had similar thoughts to what I mentioned in this video, or if you are super excited. Again, if you are, I am happy for you. Owning the cremated palette, I learned very quickly that I don't need a 30-pan grayscaled eyeshadow palette. I don't even need a 15-pan grayscaled eyeshadow palette. This mini Xenon is the only gray tone scaled palette I will need. That's what I learned. All right, my lovelies. Well, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it helped anyone out in case you're on the fence on whether you want to purchase it or not. So hopefully I helped you in deciding, yes, you know what, I need it, or no, you know what, I don't need it. For me personally, I've already said it, I'm going to skip. I don't need to own every single Natasha Denona palette that she launches. There's been a couple that I have not purchased, like the pastel one, the Circle Loco. I also don't have the Trio Chrome palette. Like, there's been a couple that I have skipped and it made sense to skip, just like this one. All right, well, again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. You have no idea, all the comments, all the likes. If you use my links to shop, it truly does mean the world to me. With that being said, I would love it if you gave this video a big thumbs up. And I would also love it if you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you all on the next video. Bye.